Jordan won
Yeah, man. Isn't that crazy?
last year, man. Is it
really?
It's not today, is it? Is it today proper? Yeah.
It was Wednesday.
Okay. Crazy year.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Crazier for you than me.
Yeah, for all of us, but yeah, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Awesemo.com NBA strategy show, 5-game slate. Today's show presented by YAHOO Daily Fantasy Sports. My name is Dave Loughran. Find me on the Twitters, on the social medias at Loughy_D, LOUGHY_D. And I'm joined, as I am every Sunday, by Joshua Engleman at Josh Engleman on the Twitters. What's good, bro?
Not too much, man. Not too much. I thought I wasn't going to want to do this show today because it's 10 o'clock on a Sunday. And I feel great. Tons of energy. Ready to attack the day.
I had a
gorgeous weather here right now. Can't ask for much more.
I was going to say, I had a few things come to mind recently. This morning, as a matter of fact. Epiphanies, one might say. First, you know how people always make fun of people for talking to other people about the weather? Like, oh, he's asking about the weather, right? Yes. Nobody ever does that in California because the weather's always nice and the same. But around here, like it's going to be 70 degrees today and partly sunny. Once it hits around 1 or 2 o'clock, we're doing a little thing for my daughter for her first birthday. You damn well better talk about the weather when on March 6th, it's 70 degrees with some sun outside. Am I wrong?
Absolutely. Yesterday it was like 75 here. It's 72, 73 right now. Bright blue skies. I can't wait to get out. And
you're from Pennsylvania too. Like, you know, when you get good weather, warm weather in the winter, it's heaven. Yeah. Because I think I have maybe a mild form of that like seasonal affective disorder, but I think that's anybody, right? Like it gets dark at 4:30 at the deepest part of winter. You know, it's freezing cold. It's wind. You like that?
Well, I like everything but the cold.
I'm fine.
I'm in for getting dark. Like,
really?
Yeah, I don't ever need to see the sunlight.
I'm fine with the cold. I hate the wind with the cold. That's when it gets rough.
Yeah.
You know, another thing I thought about. You ever see the show Walking Dead?
Sort of.
Jordan, have you? No. All right. You know they're called walkers, right?
Yeah.
Right. Why are there no children walkers?
I don't know. But there are?
There aren't. They're always adults. But in a situation like that, the kids would surely get bit, right?
Well, yeah. Well, they do.
But you never see them in the show.
I mean, maybe that's just because it's really difficult to get like an 8-year-old to come dress up like a zombie and like make sure that they have a tutor on site. It's really easy to just find adults as extras.
But it's not accurate. I want my zombie shows being accurate.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's not accurate enough for the dead come alive show. Yeah. We're really looking for accuracy in that moment.
Anthony Marcus says there are. Maybe I'm just forgetting, but that's pretty sure.
I said as well.
I'm pretty sure there's less than the WS said there were a few. Right. Okay. That's a problem. Like there should be a lot more. There should be a lot more than a few.
Make this. Let's take a note here. Not enough children on TV for Loughy.
Well, I mean, that's just really inappropriate of you. What I'm saying is,
I'm not the one advocating for it.
I want
them to be dead.
To bust into a house thinking it's vacant, right? And then like a zombie infant crawls up, takes an ankle out, right? Like that, in theory, makes sense.
This is not our best start to a show ever.
I'm just asking questions, guys. Last thing. I found myself yesterday drinking water from a straw.
There we go. That didn't take long. What was that? But 2 days?
But I came to the conclusion. I realized this. Another epiphany. I only drink water from a straw if it's at a restaurant.
Okay. You don't want to rub your grubby mouth all over dirty dishes and shit. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. Plus, I don't like ice in water, but they always give you ice in water. I drink my water room temperature at home, man.
Okay. So I also have no issue with room temperature water. I don't care, but I don't think to myself like, oh no, it's frozen water in water. What's gonna happen? How is this show gonna end?
Tommy David Walker says bad content. All right, thanks, fella. You can bounce. You ready to talk some basketball though? Because we're here.
He's good, people. I deserve that bad content.
No, I think it was me bringing up ridiculous stuff to start the show. I just needed to get your thoughts on it. Sometimes it happens. We don't get to talk all that often. You know what I mean?
I think we talk a lot.
I use this as my bully pulpit.
I don't know what any of those words mean.
All right. And yeah, room temperature water for sure. Like I used to always refrigerate it because I just buy bottles of water.
So I like if I'm gonna have a bottle like you do it. I want
room temperature.
This is straight out of the water cooler.
That's if it's in that, I want it cold.
Yeah, agreed.
If it's in a bottle, you want it warm or not warm.
Yeah, I want to drink like a 16-ounce bottle of water in 4 seconds.
Exactly. You chug it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless I'm on this show, I'm chugging. But you know what I realized? You know what's strange? The one time I want an ice cold bottle of water, and you're from PA, from those of you in cold areas, you know this. If you're outside like snow blowing or shoveling snow, right? It's cold, but then you start to sweat, and it's that strange combination where I come inside, I want a freezing cold bottle of water.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You never had to shovel snow back when you were in PA?
No, but yes, of course I did. I did it like a week and a half ago when I was home, but I didn't come in thinking, man, give me a frosty water when I'm done. Not once in my life ever. No, I want like a hot chocolate or coffee.
Okay. I wanted a cold bottle of water, ice cold.
Soup would be fun.
You're not used to it anymore, man. All right, we'll kick it off with Marcus Allen with the super chat. Thanks, Marcus. Says thanks and good luck, everyone. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate that. Did you play yesterday or are you enjoying the weekend?
I am enjoying the weekend.
I hear you.
I'm not playing today either. Guess they're gonna call me the postman by the end of this show because I am mailing this one in.
Why would you say that? I don't think you will. I guarantee you've already put all the work in.
I put 2 contenders videos out already.
Yeah, I know.
Gotta make the joke though.
Yeah, it's a good joke. It's like, I'm gonna stop watching. All right. Let's see. The comment. I love the chat sometimes. It's just reading.
Sometimes it's key.
I think it's always key. It can get out of control, but bad content, all caps. Let's do it. Guys, here at the start of the show, you guys suck. Memphis, Houston.
Right.
What's up?
He's right.
Oh yeah. I'm not arguing it, but there are times like on a 5-game slate on a Sunday morning that I have to do a show. I'm saying whatever I want.
Yep. Dude, I woke up this morning. I forgot that I had to do the contenders video. So I was like, all right, how late can I sleep before I have to prep this? And then it was 7:57.
That's late.
I was just like, okay. Oh, it's ultra late. I was up till like 1:30 watching the UFC last night.
I couldn't do
it. Shame. It was good. So I look at my phone, 7:57, and I'm thinking about how much longer I could sleep. And at that moment, I hear the switch flip in my head like, yo, you got more than you think you have to do today. Just like, shit, I got to get up right now.
Yeah, that's the worst. That happened to me the other day where I had multiple videos and shows and I didn't know I was on the strategy show because it was a Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
you know what gets slightly worse? When you record the Yahoo contenders video and then find out that you didn't have to.
Wait, you didn't have it today?
No, just DraftKings and FanDuel. I went to try to find the thumbnail. It wasn't there. I was like, shit, I got to have somebody make me this thumbnail. And then I looked at the one-stop shop and I was like, shit, I didn't need to record that at all.
Oh, that's beautiful.
There's some time I don't get back.
Well, you'll get paid extra for it. No, he won't. Memphis, Houston. Oh, hey, hit that thumbs up too if you haven't done so yet. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us on a Sunday. You know, we're all here Sunday morning, making things happen. Like Josh said, it's a nice warm weather where we are. You're in the Carolinas, but still, it gets cold there from time to time. And subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 74,000 subs. If you want to join the channel and you haven't done so yet, hit join down below. Simple as that, man. You get the free super chats each month, the custom emojis, sweet badges, about to hit that 12-month badge. You know, all that stuff. What else? Oh, we'll always prioritize your comments and questions along with our Discord members.
We will.
All right. Oh, Tommy was saying the Walking Dead kids equal bet. Maybe he was saying like it would not be good to have just kids running around foaming at the mouth, chewing on people's calves. I actually thought that. I actually thought that. Like, it's not great to just have all zombie kids getting the brains blown out the back of their heads, right? That might not play well.
I think it's fascinating that you're going back to this.
Okay, but do you not think there was an ethical conversation to be had there? Seriously.
I don't know, man.
It's like a shotgun blast to the cranium. Like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should take that out.
Not enough kid killings on TV. Loughy's advocating for more of it. That's
Can
smart.
I ask you one more question?
Why not?
And I want to hear from chat too. One more. It's a Sunday morning again. Who cares? One more question. It's a zombie apocalypse, right? It's beginning. You know it's happening. You've had some time to prepare. You have a family. You have a wife, which you do, and you have, say, a kid, and you have dogs, right?
Okay.
They're coming for you. You're in your house. What do you do when they get there to fend them off?
I turn the gun on myself and just get out of there immediately.
You would?
Yeah, probably.
But here's what I was thinking, because in the show they walk in and there's like a family laying there, and they've all, done the deed to avoid the impending doom. Would you do that with the family?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I would.
I mean, like, how many are coming? Like, if I look into the distance, it's just it's like a horizon line.
It's not a sea of them, but they continue to trickle in.
How many guns do I have?
Enough. You've been preparing.
So I'm like you, not me.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'd try, right? You wouldn't really just take the easy way out that quick on your whole family, would you?
It depends how many I see coming. Like, if I see the inevitability, then yeah. Like,
okay, yeah.
I'm not gonna be out there like Rambo, just rowing down lines of zombies or anything like that. That's not gonna work for me.
But if they're trickling in, you're gonna at least
I'm gonna try and take out a couple out of the gate. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think I would set up a way to where, like, hey, if it gets bad enough and we have no chance, lock yourself in here and take this lethal dose of fentanyl, right? So I'd have that aside, which I'd be sketchy keeping that in the house. But
by lethal dose, you mean 1 grain of rice sized bit?
Yeah, I mean lethal dose for most people. Yes, I'd say take this
much
and get out, and you'll go down. You'll go down feeling good. But first, we're fighting. That's what I would do. I think that's a good plan.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends how much. Like, if I look out my window and it looks like a Penn State game just let out and there's 100,000 people coming, I'm good, man. I'm not going to fight 100,000 zombies. I'm just not going to beat them all.
So how would you take care of business then on your end if that was coming?
Oh, gun.
Like, but you wouldn't shoot your wife.
Exactly.
Like, I've been preparing for a zombie apocalypse zombies. For a minute.
Yeah. So, they turned. They went down the other street. Whoops.
All right.
But honestly, I don't know. I got enough stuff here that we can go out a pretty fun way too.
That's actually true. Yeah. But I don't know if any of that would kill you. It might just make you absurdly paranoid.
Nah, I got the stuff that might kill you too.
Here, honey, take an 1/8 of mushrooms.
Oh yeah, that's not the way that I want to go out, dude.
No. Just molly yourself to death.
I try.
Ready for this? Memphis.
I guess we're 15 minutes in.
Whatever.
You're talking about me having to end myself to a sea of zombies.
I think it's a pertinent question.
I want to know what they feel.
What do you mean? The zombies?
Well, like, maybe it's awesome.
Oh, you think it just might be pure bliss?
What if it's not? We don't know that it's we don't know that they don't like it. They seem to be incredibly motivated to eat other people.
So, like, biting into the jugular, cutting through the flesh of a warm-blooded human is just...
Yeah. What if that's like a Wagyu steak? Yeah. Okay, that.
Well, let me get bit.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, what if everything, like, all your aches and pains go away and you're just like, I don't have a job anymore because no one will hire me because I'm a zombie. So all I have is the thirst for blood.
I'd only do it if I was a smart zombie. Like if I could at least
You're going to be like
guarantee.
the zombie president?
No, I don't. A zombie that doesn't get killed from the jump.
You want to be like more savvy than the others.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Right. Like you go to the nursing home first.
I don't want to eat old people, man.
Well, at that point, it doesn't make a difference.
Well, I'm sure like spoiled meat still sucks.
It's not spoiled. They're still alive, dude.
I mean, I've seen some animals that are still alive that don't look like the meat's going to be all that delicious. I'm going to the fat farm or something.
Okay.
I want the pork butt of a human being.
You're going straight from everyone off the TLC channel.
Yeah. Like I'm going to find that my 600-pound sisters chicks, and I'm just going straight old country buffet.
All right. Memphis. I could do this forever. Memphis.
I don't know how I'm going to talk about basketball now.
And and it wouldn't be tough. Okay. Memphis. And
what do you got for me here? What wouldn't be tough?
To chase them down.
Nah, chase them down? What are they going to roll away? These are people that need to get cut out of their homes. What chase? What are we talking about here?
I'm saying in most cases, it's a prey and predator thing. With this, it's just no contest.
Nothing's not going to be much of an issue here for old Josh, the zombie.
The savvy zombie.
Right.
All right. Memphis and Houston. Memphis Grizzlies on the road. 11.5 points, 235, and I think got them out of there.
Do they go to the bathroom? Zombies, that is, not the people I want to eat.
It's a good question because you'd think they'd get fat if they did it.
Right. Like they're constantly trying to eat people, and it seems like they have a never-ending supply. They don't seem to be putting any weight on. Does it burn a lot of calories?
Well, they're always walking.
That's
probably
true.
Just seeps through the gaping holes in their, torn to shred bodies.
So they get no sustenance out of it. It's just in the mouth and then it just like falls out the open hole.
You're
of their
right.
stomach.
Then maybe it is like a drug because it doesn't actually help them. Huh. Interesting.
I know, right?
Grizzlies playing the Rockets. Rockets are just a god awful basketball team, but hey, they've kept some games competitive at times. Like that Utah game that somehow went to overtime, which was insane. I do think though, the Memphis Grizzlies here playing their second of a back-to-back, by the way, Josh, coming off of a easy cruise to victory against the Orlando Magic yesterday at home. This one's on the road. So they're going Memphis to Houston. And then biggest thing on the slate, just to open it with this, like you have Jokic, he's probable. You have Gilgeous-Alexander, even in blowouts, this guy's putting up 30+ points every night. You have Morant, Siakam. We'll see what happens with Van Vliet. Donovan Mitchell without Mike Conley. Julius Randle against the Clippers. How much do you prioritize the John Morant today against the Rockets?
A lot, particularly on FanDuel at 10-3. He came out of my Sims 31% of the time. That's higher than where we have our current ownership. 17% owned on DraftKings at 10-5. But again, I still think he looks good there. That main trio, Morant, Bane, and Jackson, I like a whole hell of a lot, in particular Morant and Bane on FanDuel. Same story on DraftKings, but I just want to get to those pieces. Facing Houston is such a benefit. It's a massive pace up spot for the Grizzlies. They gain like 2.5 possessions over their normal averages. Clearly, Houston's defense is terrible. I mean, the fact that the Memphis Grizzlies can be 11+ point favorites in Houston is just kind of telling of how this game looks. If it stays even mildly competitive, I think that we're in for a big day out of the Grizzlies. I'm probably looking to have, I'm going to have one of Morant, Bane, and Jackson in everything that I do. And there's a decent chance I would want to have two, just given the slate size.
For sure. I'm reading chat right now, just out of control.
Yeah.
Someone said fish in a barrel, which is it's just really funny. what are your thoughts here on, we talked about him last week, just kind of wondering where the minutes would settle in at. Steven Adams has kind of been all over the map, right?
Yeah.
6,100. But the reason I ask you is this is a really good matchup for opposing centers. It's just unfortunate that he's the type of center that isn't really one to get up shots at any frequency whatsoever. No volume of shots at all. Very good rebounder though, can rack up peripherals. Is there any interest at all in Adams or anyone in the front court today for Memphis?
Yeah, Adams is pulling a bunch of ownership. He's actually the third most owned guy on the Grizzlies on DraftKings. I don't totally agree with it. I don't know why 18% ownership is there for Adams. I gave him 29 minutes. I think that I'm being pretty realistic there. I would likely be under the field. Certainly worth a shot against Houston. I mean, he's going to work a lot harder than Christian Wood does, but I think there's just going to be better value options at center. Just straight away, I'd just rather have Jaren Jackson than Steven Adams. They're separated by $400. I have them separated by 4.5 fantasy points. So just on his own team, he's not even the guy with center eligibility that I want to get to. And then
we have that makes sense.
Yeah. And then we have DeAnthony Melton pulling 16% ownership on DK at 4,500. Not really my cup of tea either. I mean, we're talking about a guy that plays 22 minutes a game. I don't really see what the upside is that I would want him in that many lineups. So I'm a little bit lighter on the extra pieces for Memphis. Morant, Bane, Jackson, I'm happy to get whatever I can.
Man, especially if Morant really is on DraftKings, if he really is only 17%. I mean, that's Agreed. Not that high for a 5-game slate facing Houston.
No, it's kind of surprising. If you look just at the ownership around him, I mean, we've got Shea is essentially the exact same price. They are owned basically the same. I would prefer Morant to Shea. And then you get Jokic all the way up at 12.6. They're not really in the same tier, and clearly describing Jokic in comparison to these guys is a very different thing. The point ceiling on Jokic is just way, way bigger. So they're kind of on this weird island where after Shea, you're dropping down another $1,000. And that's where the ownership is starting to go to Donovan Mitchell without Mike Conley. I'm just as happy to go to Morant, though. It feels like they're underrepresented at the top.
It does. And if this game stays close, I mean, no one thought that was going to stay close against Utah the other day, right? And Mitchell went nuclear. This game stays close. Ja Morant plays 36 minutes, only 28 in the blowout yesterday. If he plays 36 minutes against a Houston team that's dead last in defensive rating, number 1 in pace, you're going to probably wish you have a lot more than 17% Ja Morant.
You really are.
What do you think about Houston? Just guys like Jayshawn Tate, Jalen Green. These guys are all, for the most part, pretty cheap outside of Christian Wood. And I think the reason it's been so tough to get to Christian Wood isn't because he's a bad fantasy option, or at least fantasy producer. He's not. He's a good per minute guy, but he's only center eligible, which has been a stacked position lately with a good amount of value and top tier talent. And just, if you're ever on the fence, it's well, this team is just so bad that his minutes would be a lot higher this year. He'd probably play 34 minutes per game if they weren't getting smoked every single night.
I like this team a lot more than the public appears to, and that kind of scares me. But if it stays competitive, there are really nice prices here. I think Kevin Porter Jr. For $5,900 on FanDuel, $6,400 on DraftKings is wildly underowned. I think Christian Wood is wildly underowned. He's got power forward eligibility on FanDuel as well. I mean, this is a pace up spot for Houston too. Memphis plays really quick. Memphis, to me, the third fastest team in basketball. Houston, second. This is about as fast of a matchup as you're going to find. So
237 total.
Right. I like attacking Houston, assuming that it can stay competitive, whether that's well over the field on Christian Wood, well over the field on Kevin Porter Jr. We're giving a lot of ownership to Jayshawn Tate. I think it's pretty easy to just go to Jalen Green or Eric Gordon, or even if you wanted to go to Garrison Matthews at 3,600 on DK. There's a lot of spots here where if it's right, the pricing works on Houston. That's really the issue here. Is it likely to be a blowout? Yes. However, when it's not, these guys are priced so that they're going to pay off salaries.
You're absolutely right. And on a 5-game slate, if you end up with lineups that have, multiple of each team in your lineup, and it does end up staying close and it exceeds 237, you see 240 total points in this game.
Right.
It could be a game changer for sure.
The 5-game slate is what makes it really crazy. Like, it's really easy to target Houston if this game goes correctly. Like, one of Memphis, Houston, and Utah, Oklahoma City is probably going to be closer than we expect.
Every night, man. Every night you get one of those, right? That's just expected to be a wash from the. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, you don't forget about the actual final score, but the Blazers were like 15-point dogs, and that game was very competitive. Yeah. Almost up until the end, I think it was. But yeah, it was just paying attention to that. Simons was playing well, and that roster is god awful. I mean, they were even without their like secondary depth pieces yesterday, and still Josh ended up making a game. So they lost 135-121, but like after the third quarter, it was still it was still like a 5-point game.
They were live.
So what's that?
They were live.
Yeah, maybe 7-8. But the point is that there was at no point were you not getting your starters out there. Simons played 40 minutes in regulation. So the point is simply that even if this game were to end with a final score that was separated by 15 points, 16 points, and Houston doesn't cover, it can happen in the fourth quarter. You know, like Absolutely. You could keep it close enough, and then Memphis just being the better team. Sixers have done that in like 3 straight games before last night, where they're the better team. They suck in the first half. They end up covering well in both of those games against the Knicks because they're better. Yep. So yeah, and everyone plays their full allotment of minutes. All right, let's move it on here. We got a couple spots that I want to get to, and last thing, Jalen Green's minutes have been very nice, Josh. It feels like another spot once again where if they are competitive throughout, he could easily get 35 plus minutes here. So
I like him at 33 minutes more than the public. So any upside there of a competitive game is even better for me. I love Houston today.
There you go. How much do you like Donovan Mitchell without, I know Mike Conley is not who he once was, but he still is somebody that just from an overall facilitating standpoint, you know, and ball handling responsibilities, is his absence will be noted for sure, especially if you get Mitchell starting at the 1, which he should. They're 13.5-point favorites, 223.5 total.
Looks exceptional. Probably the best overall play on the day just because of Conley being out. Obviously, facing the Oklahoma City Thunder when they're missing like 7 of their best, and I use the term best pretty loosely, guys, it gets a little bit better. That's why they're 13-point favorites here. So just play Donovan Mitchell. I don't really have much else to say. You know, usage goes up, assist rate goes up with no Mike Conley, but there's a trickle down here. Gobert's pulling a ton of ownership. Bojan Bogdanovic is pulling a ton of ownership. Trent Forrest, 3,100 on DK, pulling a bunch of ownership. Totally agree with that, by the way. He should see close to 30 minutes. We're talking about someone that's, I don't know, like a 0.75 fantasy point per minute guy, but the minutes are there. You get shooting guard, small forward eligibility on DK, which means you could also put him in at guard, forward, and utility. And he's only $100 above the minimum. He's the guy that benefits the most from a playing time perspective. If you want to go to Clarkson, go for it. The price has fallen enough that it's fine, but he doesn't really get the same jump you would want him to get when Conley's not in there. He can. This strikes me as a real tricky spot for Clarkson in that if this is a blowout, he might lose a little bit more of that normal run.
He will. For sure.
That's where it gets a little tricky. I'm not as in love with Clarkson as the ownership shows. He's the highest owned guy on Utah on FanDuel and on DraftKings. I'm not really excited about something like that.
I'm not either. And Clarkson, well, let me back up for 1 second. Clarkson is the type of guy that when you get that preemptive price bump, right, where they're able to price these before you get a lot of the news, or I'm sorry, after the news, then it's tough because like $6,500 Clarkson to me is very underwhelming. He's also much better if it's Mitchell out and not Mike Conley, right? But I do think at 5,000 on DraftKings, but again, this game, if it stays close, Clarkson is the type of guy, your 6-man type players are the type of guys that lose the most in blowouts because they don't get close to their second half rotation. It's not just like they get blowout run because they're coming off the bench. They empty it. So I agree with you there. But if Clarkson at 5K does get himself like, and what are you saying, 28 minutes?
Yeah, that works.
Sounds
again.
Right.
He's a good play. I think he's over-owned.
I would agree with that. 30% is pretty high.
Yeah.
Especially with Mitchell. I know he's more expensive, but Mitchell at 21%, like, yeah, that's crazy. Trent Forrest, Rudy Gobert, all these guys pulling it. Outside of Mitchell, then who's your favorite Jazz player?
Trent Forrest on DraftKings, that $3,100 price tag is just too low. It's easy value to get in a matchup like this. He probably even plays in the blowout. I think he's the guy that gets the biggest benefit from minutes. And then on FanDuel, for me, it's Bojan Bogdanovic at 4,400. He's $900 cheaper than he is on DraftKings. Sees the same sort. He gets a minor bump with no Conley. Minutes firm up even more. I think he's the second best option on FanDuel.
So we got a super chat that's for $10. Thanks, man. It says, just stopping in real quick to say what's up to you guys. I'm also curious to see how Josh plans to brutalize my name this time around. Haha. Keep up the good work, my boys. Now, let me say thank you, first of all. My first thought was at the Dynasty, but there's only one T in there. So is it the Dynasty? Is it Eighth Dynasty? Which is it?
I like to say it as if the last word is actually nasty. So I've gone with Teddy Nasty a couple times.
Or Eighth Nasty.
Teddy Nasty.
It's got to be Dynasty, though. It's definitely
Dynasty. It's the Dynasty, but Nasty is the first piece I see there, and that's the one I want to say the most.
So it is the Dynasty.
Correct.
Okay, makes sense. That would have been my first guess.
You would have been right then.
Happens infrequently. Thanks.
Agreed.
Though. James also asks, one more thing, Loughy, where are all the zombie pets? I have a good, I think they just there's nothing left of them at the end. So they can't walk around, with nothing. You can't walk around with no limbs.
What happens to a vegan zombie?
Doesn't make a difference.
They become meat eaters at that point.
Oh yeah. And Steven said earlier, he's right. He said they're dead. They don't need sustenance. They just crave it.
I don't know. That doesn't make sense.
We don't have time. It's already 10:33.
It's true.
We'll have to do a show on this, just overall, like the theory.
Yeah, that'll draw.
OKC, Baisley, man, SGA, the pogo stick himself, Isaiah Roby, all of these guys. The only thing we're waiting on right now is Aaron Wiggins might play. Last I looked, he's still questionable.
Yeah.
Everybody else that's been out is out. Got to hand it to your boy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, though, because this dude, even in a 37-point loss, still rips off 33 points. I mean, he's shooting spectacularly right now. I'm not saying it's sustainable, Josh, but coming back from the All-Star break, really coming back from injury because he was out for almost a month, he's on fire as a scorer. It's really impressive.
1.46 FanDuel points per minute over the past 30 days for Shai. So go ahead and play him however you would like. To me, he's like 97% of Ja Morant today. Like, I like them both a lot. If you're asking me to pick between the two, I take Morant before I take Shai, but I want to have them both. OKC is like a slightly less good version of Houston today.
How easy do you think it'll be to get, the SGAs and the Morants into the same lineup?
It's a great question. Let's find out.
Because you got Mitchell too, right?
Yeah, that's where it gets complicated because Mitchell is a better play than both of those guys. But I think there's probably enough out there you can make it work. Like, I locked Ja, Mitchell, and Shai. What am I ending up with there? So my optimal is 275.7. And if I lock Mitchell, Shai, and Morant, I can get lineups that are only like 12 points away. So like, it's nothing crazy. You can put that together.
Yeah.
If you go to two, you're perfectly fine. It's very easy to get two of those guys.
Right. And it's not impossible to get three.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. But I like going to Oklahoma City the same way that I like going to Houston, whether that's Trey Mann at 5,500. He's pulling some ownership. Baisley and Roby, to me, probably a little overowned, but still good plays. If Aaron Wiggins is in, I mean, he is dog shit from a DFS perspective.
That's so bad.
Shooting guard, small forward, 3,100. If he steps right back into 30 minutes, though, like, it's a point per dollar play, but 0.51 FanDuel points per minute over the last 30 days for Aaron Wiggins. I assume that's the lowest mark of anybody on my sheet. Let's check. Is 0.51 the lowest? Oh my God, it is not.
Who is it?
There are 3 people over the past 30 days that have lower fantasy point per minute values. Everybody in this list has played basically 100 minutes or more.
Who are they?
Do you want to guess any one of them?
It would be.
I'll give you the teams.
Okay.
The Lakers.
Reeves.
No.
No.
You're not that you're far away, but Avery Bradley.
Okay. Okay.
Sixers. This one's the worst one.
Tobias not the worst. Harris.
No.
I'm kidding.
Good shot, though.
It's not Matisse.
No, it's not.
And they've all played
100. Avery Bradley played 140 minutes. This guy's played 232. And the final guy has played 170.
Korkmaz?
Danny Green, 0.41 FanDuel points per minute in 232 minutes. 0.41.
What's the other team?
And the low man from the oh shit, is he on the Bucks? No, is he on the Lakers too? No, he's on the Bucks. Wes Matthews.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed that. Well, if you told me the Bucks, then I had
170 minutes, 0.29 FanDuel points per minute over the last 30 days.
That's remarkable.
I can do that, I think.
That is incredible. How?
0.29. Meanwhile, in that same amount of time, Giannis is at 1.86.
Jeez. So what's Wiggins at? 0.51?
Yeah. Over the past 30 days, 0.51.
Jeepers creepers. That is bad.
It is not good. But same scenario for the Thunder as Houston. One of those 2 teams are probably going to be more competitive than the other and keep this one around. That's where you're going to find some decent value. But I think Oklahoma City's getting the ownership and Houston really wasn't. Just go to Houston. I
think there's one more important thing to consider, though, Josh. I'll tell you right now.
If this is about zombies again.
No. The Thunder lost by 37 last night, right? 2 nights ago. And Isaiah Roby still played 37 minutes.
Yeah. And now today he'll probably play 16.
Why? Just saying because?
Yeah, just because of Oklahoma City.
Right. But if you think about it, though, man, you don't have much there. Like
he's a good play today.
Derek Favors is out. Muscala's out. Robinson Earl's been out. What is it? Like Oliver Sarr is your other guy?
Yeah. Look, Roby's going to play 30 minutes today, or at least he should, barring some sort of real big beating. But it's basically just him and Sarr. And then, I guess you go to like a Darius Baisley at the 5 type lineup if you have to go some other direction.
But Roby could play big minutes again. There's no doubt.
Absolutely.
And he's been good. Toronto and Cleveland. Let's hit it. Before we do though, shout out to our sponsor, Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. Got the $20,000 NBA baller tonight. All of the tools at Yahoo are free to you for an entire month. $90 value. All you have to do is sign up at Yahoo using the link in the description or the one that Jordan Klein is throwing into YouTube, or I believe he already did into the YouTube chat. I saw him move over there. And you get a free month. I think you have to deposit $10. It says deposit. I think it's $10. It used to be, Josh. So I think it still is. But then they give you $10 back anyway in free play. So you get $10 back. You get everything that we have at Awesemo. Everything on the site, not just basketball, football. Well, it's not here, but MMA, NASCAR, esports. You got NASCAR today. You had UFC yesterday, PGA. If baseball happens to NHL, you name it. If they have contests out there, we got content for it. And we have all the tools: Boom Bust, Top Stack Tool, Lineup Builder, player projections, ownership, not just for every other site, but also for Yahoo. So take advantage of it. All you got to do is sign up, deposit, and enter a paid contest. They'll give you $10 back in free play as well. And you get a free month of Awesemo. And you get into our premium Discord. You get into our office hours channel, where, of course, you got the pros like Steve Buzzard, the Colts himself. I always mention him because he's so good at like talking through it and so patient with everybody, as Josh knows, in office hours, helping you better your game. That guy's one of the best players out there. So take advantage of it. It's legitimately free, actually free, no strings attached whatsoever. Free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. When you use that link, sign up, deposit, and enter a paid contest or use the one in chat. Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports, sponsor of the Strategy Show. All right, man. Let's talk Toronto and Cleveland here. Still not sure what's going on. I think it's very possible that VanVleet plays today, but a little additional wrinkle that I'll throw at you. Malachi Flynn with a hamstring strain is also questionable. So in the event, let's just say that VanVleet and Flynn don't play, what do we do here? Banton time? It's got to be like big time Banton, right?
Yeah, Banton plays 30-something minutes. We probably see Svi get, like minimal rotation minutes at that point as a guard. But yeah, really, like, here's the deal. If VanVleet's in, you play VanVleet. If VanVleet's out and Flynn is in, you play Flynn. And if VanVleet and Flynn are both out, you play Banton. And you don't really have to think about it all that much else.
You like VanVleet today?
For 7,500 on FanDuel, absolutely. For 8,400 on DraftKings, yes, but not sort of like there's not really a priority for me on DK today from Toronto. On FanDuel, it's different because they're priced better. Like Pascal Siakam's $1,300 cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DK. He just looks good, and he's 35% owned. Scotty Barnes is $100 cheaper. Gary Trent's got the same price, but Fred VanVleet way cheaper. So Siakam and VanVleet look good on FanDuel to me.
Okay. And I'll say again, just one more time, Gary Trent Jr. I mean, it's this guy is super tilting. He really is. He's becoming one of those guys. Would you not agree?
It's an experience with this dude, because he'll get like 7 steals one day, and that will be his big day.
Yeah, that was
he's 4 for 23 2 days ago. Like, ugh.
Yeah, dude, he's like an expensive Patty Mills right now, but he's getting shots up. Yeah. I don't love this matchup though, but I will throw this out there. Since the All-Star break, Josh, so I'm sorry, since the trade deadline, so just about a month now, almost a month.
Yeah,
Cleveland is allowing the highest 3-point percentage to opponents. So it is a good team, but they're much more talented with their interior defense than they are outside. We've seen that recently. This could be one of those games where, and I want VanVleet off the floor with this price point for Trent, but if VanVleet's out and if Malachi Flynn is out, but really just VanVleet, I still do think getting to some Trent makes sense because we saw the other day 4 for 23, awful performance. But if he has the upside, if he has 20 plus, field goal attempt ceiling, then I want to have a little bit here if there's no VanVleet.
I think he's the best play on Toronto at 6,600 across both sites, shooting
but
guard, small forward.
If VanVleet's out.
No, even if he's in, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to play those minutes. The positional setup, shooting guard, small forward, is massive. Like we were talking about, he's going to shoot the ball a lot. That's everything that he does is basically scoring and steals. Cleveland, 28th in turnover rate. I mean, that fits into a Gary Trent type ceiling day. If they're going to cough the ball up a couple times, maybe it's Trent creating those steals.
Could be. David says, disrespecting Trent, comparing him to Mills. Sheesh. Well, I called him an expensive Mills.
Yeah.
That's fair. No, I'm talking from a DFS standpoint. And if you don't see the similarities there between playing Patty Mills for like 4 straight games and as a starter without KD and Harden and Irving and having him throw up like 1 for 11 every game.
It was not good.
Bad.
Real bad.
Can at least do a little bit in the way of peripherals, but this guy literally has a 0 rebound game in 30 minutes over his ice for it, and then 2 rebounds in 39 minutes in back-to-back games. If Gary Trent isn't scoring, you are cooked.
Oh yeah, there's no other way to get there. He's going to need 10 steals.
Right, he needs that 5 steal game, and he still didn't get there on that one. No. He had like 29 points, so 29 fantasy points. Can I just say, Josh, that DraftKings, and this was one, when I do I love doing this video. I've been doing it for like a week and a half now over at the Odd Shopper YouTube channel. If you like sports betting, come hang with us. It's awesome. Got great college basketball stuff, everything else. I do an NBA betting video, a lot of props each and every day. And I'll always do like my favorite one. And on Friday, it was between Malcolm Brogdon over 28.5 points, rebounds, and assists, which just seemed way low because I don't think they were factoring into this guy when he's healthy, plays 36 minutes in regulation. Yeah. But also Darius Garland over 20.5 points against the Sixers. We got there. He had a huge game, but he was $7,900 on, and I used all of that to lead up to this to say, come hang out and watch that show. It's fun. It's like 9 minutes long every day. That's it. He is not a $7,900 player at all when you've got all of those other guys off the floor. LeVert's doubtful again today. The only question now is, do we want to pay up for Garland that his prices come up? But he was in the mid 9Ks before he got hurt, Josh.
Ooh, so I like him. I don't like him more than Jared Allen, but I do like him. Like, I'm surprised Jared Allen's at 8% ownership. We were talking before about like center only guys. Jared Allen is the guy that stands out most to me. I think he's in for a big rebounding day here. 7,600 on DK. He's 7,400 on FanDuel with the power forward eligibility. He's the guy that came out of my sims with the highest odds of being in the optimal for Cleveland. Garland is a close second, but the ownership is already there. Like, we're getting 20% Garland. We're getting 8.5% Allen. I'm just going to get to a little bit more Jared Allen than GPPs just because I just think he's a better play. I don't have them separated by all that much from a fantasy perspective. I mean, think about this. Jared Allen over the last 30 days, 1.13 fantasy points per minute. Darius Garland, 1.14. Like, Jared Allen is probably a slightly better fantasy per minute guy. He's going to play basically the same minutes as Darius Garland. He's $1,000 cheaper. Why is his ownership a third of it? I don't get it. So Jared Allen to me is the clear best piece for Cleveland.
Okay, I get it. The Garland price hike is a little bit tough to get to, but I'll say this much personally: if Van Vliet does play, and Garland and him are basically the same price, I'll take Garland all day there. I think we may have some differences here, but when I look at both of these teams, Garland is just like the do-all player for this team.
Sure.
He had 26 points last game on 22 field goal attempts and 19 assists. Is that an outlier? Of course it is, but we know that the ceiling for Garland is huge, especially with LeVert off the floor. There's no Sexton. Rondo's doubtful too, and then Rubio's been out. So like, he just has to do everything. And Kevin Love, who is another guy that'll be getting a ton of usage, isn't playing a lot of minutes, but even if he is, Garland's just going to dish him out to him above the break and get assists. So I just think there's a lot of room to have big games for Garland right now while this team, particularly your guards, are hurt.
Yeah, look, it's not that I don't like Garland. I have them barely separated at this point. 20% sim odds on Allen, 16% on Garland. The piece that's most interesting to me is how bad of a defensive rebounding team Toronto is. 28th in the league in defensive rebounding. I think Jared Allen could just be primed for a massive day on the boards. I got him projected for 12 rebounds, which means like a 14 or 15 rebound day today is not out of the cards. And if he's able to exceed his mark in rebounds, like I said, I got him at 12. If he gets to 13 or 14, paying off 7,600 becomes really easy.
Anybody else you like?
I mean, look, like Allen, Garland, Mobley, these guys just play enough minutes that, they're in your lineups on 5 gamers. It just, you're playing these guys no matter what. The other guy that's getting any ownership here is Chetty, 15% owned. That's the second highest mark on DK. It's fine. The position is what's getting you there. If you want to just say, I'd rather go to an unowned Isaac Okoro at the same price and same position as Chetty, I think that makes a little bit of sense in GPPs, but to me, no priorities on Cleveland outside of Allen, Garland, and Mobley.
Okay. Mike, I know Rubio isn't there. I'm saying that if you take every guard that he's played with this season that could have had an impact, Josh, I'm talking about Garland, they're all not on the floor, whether they're on the team or not. That's all I'm saying. Dude, Rubio was crushing this season when he came in a relief, starting effort.
I can't even believe that he was having the year that he was having. It's just, that's how you know it was such a farce for Cleveland.
Yeah, probably right. We got 2 games to go.
We do.
You got anything else for Cleveland, or should we keep it going here?
Let's keep it going, man.
New Orleans Pelicans. You got the Pels on the road. What's the spread in this one?
4.
4. Okay. 226 total. Jokic on the other side is expected to play.
Yeah.
So McCollum, Ingram, Valanciunas, all three of these guys have been solid in their own right. McCollum's been outrageously good since coming over from the Pelicans, or I'm sorry, from the Blazers. He's another guy that's somewhat similar in price to your Garlands and Van Vliets, but not too much cheaper than Mitchell, which kind of makes all those guys a little bit more difficult. Where do you land on a CJ McCollum and then a Brandon Ingram today, now that their prices are getting closer to each other?
Yeah, these guys are, to me, good, not great. And that's sort of how most of the Pelicans starting lineup looks. We've got CJ as the highest owned guy in this game. That's a FanDuel mark. He's 8,500, 23% owned. That's exactly where I have him. Like, he came out of my sim at 23.6. We have him at 23.4. So I think CJ is properly owned. I have a hard time separating CJ and Brandon Ingram on DraftKings relative to their salary. I have CJ projected a little bit better. He's also $500 more expensive. They're both around like 15% ownership. And to me, that seems about where it should be. Whether, you want to get to Herb Jones and his 32 minutes as a value option at 4,400. Yeah, at 14% ownership, he's owned about where he should be. Same for Joe Val, same for Jackson Hayes. I have a hard time seeing anything for New Orleans like jump off the page right now. We're looking at a Denver team that is now playing significantly faster than they were before. This was a team that was basically dead last in pace for a bit. They're 13th as of late. They've really picked up the pace of their games. That is a benefit. Pelicans are 21st, so there's no crazy pace option here. Basically, play the starters. You're probably picking one for every single lineup you have, whether that's CJ, Ingram, Jones, Joe Val, or Hayes. There's not a single priority for me from the Pelicans.
I just realized we have over 600 people watching on a Sunday morning.
We're good like that, man.
Not bad, right? I think it was the zombie talk.
Yeah, that probably drew it, man. People were just telling all their friends they're missing out.
I think so. I think once in a while people go to their friends and be like, "Hey, you play DFS?" Yeah, I play I dabble. And they say, "Well, there's this show, strategy show." When these guys
they don't talk about anything resembling basketball.
No. When these guys, Josh and Loughy, are on, I mean, you might not learn anything, but you'll have a blast. And then the games will be on the sidebar, so it'll look like it's happening. I don't know, dude. I think we have a pretty decent blend of analysis and bullshit.
I mean, no? I agree with you. Maybe some people might disagree with the amount of the blend, but
well, then it wouldn't be a good blend.
Well, yeah, it's a good blend to you and I. I think a lot of people might think we skew a bit too far to the non-DFS. You're probably right.
I'm just saying to disagree with an amount of the blend is simply disagreeing with the blend itself.
Sure. That's a little bit more philosophical than I was ready for right now. It's like a tree falls in the forest type shit, man. I'm not ready for it.
I like the blend. Anyway, that's all.
Are we talking about the Sirius station?
What's up?
Sirius, the blend. That's one that I listen to.
Yeah, I'm good on that. Hit that thumbs up, though. Hey, maybe we could get to 200. I think it's tough, but if you forgot, we forgive you. It only takes a second. You'll feel better afterwards. It's like a good workout. Nice dopamine hit. You get the endorphins going too. Just hit that thumbs up.
How happy are you that you don't do Sirius anymore?
Why? How happy am I? I'm sorry. I thought you said very. I was doing Saturdays and Sundays in the afternoons, bro. You know how brutal that is?
Yeah, I do. Because when it was like, hey, you might have to do Sirius on Saturdays and Sundays in the afternoon, it was like, ooh, I don't know how much I want to do that.
Tough.
When he who shall not be named was no longer your co-host.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I tell you what, though, it was great for experience. It was great just to like understand how to do things a certain way. You know what I mean? I wouldn't.
I'm sure you wouldn't. I'm sure you. Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm sure you wouldn't trade the fact that you did it, but that was untenable.
Oh yeah, I would never trade the fact that I did it. But when I stopped doing it, I would never want to do it again.
Yeah, not at that time span.
Plus, we crush it here anyway, so who cares? Yeah,
we're right, great now. Yeah. Oh, you don't want to do 4 to 6 on Saturdays and Sundays or whatever it was.
I used to do the 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. Oh, yeah.
That's better in a way.
Eastern time, though.
In a weird way, that's better.
It was a fun show because you could kind of do what you wanted,
Like I'd be more likely to want to do 12-2 than 4-6 or whatever that slot was that
on
you
a
did
Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you can go have your day and then just show up and do your stuff in the middle of the night. But like 4-6 ruins I can't remember what that time was, but it ruins everything.
Yeah, 3 to 5. But yeah,
is that what it was? 3 to 5? Okay, same thing.
All right. Do you think Nikola Jokic here is? It might sound like a silly question off the top, but it's not, because I don't think he is. But a priority?
No.
There's so many good 10 and 9K plays today, dude.
Yeah, look, on FanDuel at 10-9, he's a priority.
Yeah, that's a lot. 12
on DraftKings at 12-6, he's less of a priority. Look, no one builds a lineup and is just like, oh, I got to change that Jokic piece. Like, yeah, get him.
Crazy.
He's massive, and he should. It's a mildly tricky spot. Like, Joval is a like-sized human being. You don't have a lot of those in the NBA, but
he's a what?
He's a like-sized human being to Jokic.
What's that mean?
Like, Jokic is huge. He's a huge human. A lot of teams have centers that aren't really matching up all that great with Jokic. Like, Joval's not going to get pushed around. Like, they are both big, hulking human beings. Like, if Jackson Hayes were starting at the center for New Orleans today and Joval was out, Jokic just eats Jackson Hayes.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Jokic isn't like backing Joval through the hoop.
No, it's not. All right. But in all seriousness, we got to be out of here by 11.
Yeah, look, I don't like anything on Denver, really, but they're not getting owned. So if you want shares of Barton or Gordon or Morris, I think it's okay. But the highest owned non-Jokic guy on Denver, on DK, is 2.7% owned Bones Highland. Take a shot on some of the guys that play 30 minutes if you want in larger field GPPs, but it doesn't look very good for Denver across the board.
Okay, I would agree with that. And it usually doesn't outside of Jokic, honestly. Unless you've got DeMarcus Cousins just coming in and going scorched earth. That was insane. I
don't want to talk about it.
We got one more game to go before we do. Breaks of God. Hey, fantasy sports fans, what have you caught a break? I know Josh does these box breaks with the potential to net a couple $100,000 with less than $100 investment. I got your attention now, huh? I just ad-libbed that, Josh. We have great news because Breaks of God is the place to catch that break. Breaks of God's the largest sports card collecting trend to catch fire in America, and it's how sports card collectors of all ages building high-value card collections without huge investment or risk. It's quickly become a popular and economical way for sports fans to get potentially high-value or rare cards without having to buy a $1,500 box or case for themselves. From all sports, there's many slot options available for under $100, so you can get big money premium trading cards for a fraction of the cost. Now, if you go to breaksofgod.com, you get 30% off simply by using the promo code A30, like Awesemo A30. 30% off A30, breaksofgod.com, and you do your first break. That's what it is. Check it out and follow them on Instagram at breaksofgod.com. Very cool stuff over there, especially if you're into the sports card scene. Breaksofgod.com, A30 for 30% off. All right, Josh, let's wrap it up, baby. Clippers at home hosting the New York Knicks. I guess the biggest thing here is, what are we doing with Barrett, who just continues to fire a ton of shots every night? A ton of shots.
I'll start on that in 1 second, but the next time that we have a bet, and obviously we need to talk about finalizing my lip tattoo. Yep. Our next bet, the loser should buy the winner a slot of a break at Breaks of God.
Only if we can live stream it together.
Sure.
Because I think that would make it more enjoyable, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
So put that on the back burner. Now we don't have to maim each other for the next one. We can just somebody can get an actual benefit. By the way, the mustache was 2 days ago. I just had the pictures on my phone.
Oh, it's so good. The thing is, while we're not, we don't have to maim each other. It has the chat probably would appreciate that,
Yeah, sure.
If this bet was go get bit by a real life zombie, they'd be all about it.
I wish I could run some zombies through most of chat.
All right. Talk to me about the Knicks and the Clip. Just hit both sides because we're up against it.
I'm on it. So Alec Burks is massively owned on FanDuel at 5,100, and he should be. Evan Fournier is pretty massively owned on FanDuel, and he should be. It's great pricing. It's great minutes. They're not the most fun guys in the world to roster, but they look good. I'm happy to get to Randall and Barrett, especially with no Toppin. All four of those guys are pulling between 15 to 20% ownership on DK, 20 to 30 on FanDuel, and I think it's all warranted. I don't have a negative thing to say, oddly enough, about the four main guys from the Knicks. But the most interesting guy might actually be Mitchell Robinson. Played massive minutes 2 games ago for the Knicks. If he goes out there and plays 30 minutes, we're talking about a guy that's like a 1.05 to 1.1 fantasy point per minute guy at basically no ownership. How is he 3.5% owned at 5,600 today? I like Mitchell Robinson in large field GPPs, but you're playing Randall, you're playing Barrett, you're playing Fournier, you're playing Burks. They're pretty thin right now. You're seeing like Miles McBride get minutes. Jericho Sims has been instilled as the backup center behind Mitchell Robinson. I didn't think that I would say it, but the Knicks might actually be like my second favorite team on this slate.
Last thing I'll say before you go to the Clippers is the Clippers are actually not a great rebounding team when it comes to opposing bigs. So I love Mitchell Robinson at 3% in tournaments. I think 3% is very low on a guy like Mitchell Robinson, who has a wildly low floor and can drop 50 plus anytime. He's got 50 plus in like 3 of his last 10, and then the rest are like 25 or less. So yeah, I'm fine with that volatility.
Right. If you're playing a GPP, that's what we're looking for here.
Yep. All right, wrap us up.
All righty. The Clippers. Reggie Jackson continues to be incorrectly priced on FanDuel with no sign of them making a change. 8,700 on DraftKings. By the way, I like him at 8% ownership. He's $7K on FanDuel and 36% owned. Reggie Jackson is the highest owned player on FanDuel. It completely makes sense. The price is broken. After that, good luck. Terrence Mann and Marcus Morris seem like the most likely guys to play north of 30 minutes. They would be the first 2 guys I want to go to. They are also the 2 guys that are getting in the teens of ownership. After that, best of luck to you figuring out which guys are going to be playing for the rest of the Clippers. They're all like 5%ers to me. It's Reggie Jackson on FanDuel as a priority. You're playing Mann and Morris more than anybody else. And then if you're taking shots on like the Kennards and Covingtons of the world, that better be like your last piece pivot.
Well, that'll do it for us. We almost got in under the window. Anyway, shout out to Jordan Klein for producing this one. Follow Josh at Josh Engleman, me at Loughy_D. I think Josh and I are doing a show or 2 together next week as well, outside of just Sunday. So yeah, hang around. Stick around too. NASCAR Live Before Lock coming up this afternoon. NBA Deeper Dive Live Before Lock. All that good stuff right here on the channel. We'll see you back here. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Peace.